Finally, we filter out all the possible influencers by hiding the music, sports, football, and cinema, and actors and actresses categories, and as well as manually filtering out any otherwise famous celebrities. And these procedures provided us with a list of potential influencers. And there's a reminder. There's our reminder right there. There's follower count isn't everything. I'm gonna give you an example from YouTube because there's a lot of channels on YouTube that has more than 10 million followers, but like the engagement isn't that good. So that's very important to know.
Okay, so as you can see, for our platform for Instagram, these are our top followed users on Instagram, and while they are the top followed users with the most follows, these are not the influencers that we decided to pick, and you may wonder why, and here is who we chose. So we chose Antonella Racuzo. She does modeling, and she's a family-friendly influencer with a follower count of 23.7 million. She's from Argentina, and her average authentic engagement is 2.8 million with an average engagement of 4.6 million. And then here are some more images of Antonella Racuzo.
So when we were approaching this problem, we wanted to make sure that we considered an aspect of influencer from every data set that we were given. So here you can see the 20 most followed Instagram accounts from high to low. Now you'll see that we color-coded these as red and green. Red is influencers, or just people on Instagram rather, that we've ruled out as not being influencers. So that could be because they were eliminated because of one of the categories conflicting with one of the categories that were considered influencers, or because they did not gain their fame organically. So here you can see there's a number of green ones, those would represent the influencers, and then the gray bar would represent our choice, Antonella Racuzo. Now notice Antonella Racuzo is only the 18th most followed person with 23.7 million followers. So it may seem like there are better options, but if we flip to the next slide, you will see that when we measure engagement levels, especially looking at the average authentic engagement, which is the real statistic that we're looking at in particular, you'll notice that she's leading in terms of every other person on Instagram. So notice that Kylie Jenner, she is the most followed person on Instagram, according to this data. She has only an average authentic engagement of 2.7 million, whereas Antonella is leading in 2.8. Now, Virginia Monseca, she is the leading influencer with follows. So if you compare this, you can see that the average authentic engagement is the highest among Antonella, and in fact, is the highest among the entire data set that we examined, as well as that her total engagement is higher than either of the other two individuals. Finally, if we compare the average proportions of authentic engagement, we can see that Antonella Racuzo's proportion is comparable to the others. So it's very easy to get passed up by some of these really big Instagram models like Kylie Jenner or Virginia Fonseca. But Antonella Racuzo, she stands her ground. Even though she's not considered A-list, she still has the exact, or pretty much the exact same average proportion of authentic engagement, which is just the authentic engagement over the total engagement. So that would be like real comments, real likes, and nothing botted or something like that. So while Virginia and Kylie are more followed, Antonella is clearly holding up her ground and in fact leading in engagement levels.
Okay, so to wrap up our reasons for choosing Antonella, we wrote down 3 advantages, including that she is a mom of 3 kids and a wife to a famous soccer player, Lionel Messi. Her having a family and being in touch with sports world while being a sports player herself, while not being a sports player herself, will broaden her audience and could help sell items like energy drinks and clothing and shoewear. She is also of Argentinian descent. She speaks Spanish and English, which will expand her reach to a broadened audience. In addition to her fans in Argentina, she has fans in the US, and she lives with her husband, Lionel Messi. She is also a 36 years old, making her a mid-millennial. This will also give her a unique and powerful online demographic, and she will both appeal to millennial peers and those that are older than her that can look to her for inspiration and can be influenced. So next for our TikTok selection procedures, to select an influencer on TikTok, we limited our candidates to those who have at least 2 million views. We then sorted the data from higher viewer count to lowest. Afterwards, we viewed the number of likes, comments, shares, and to compare the amount of engagement and on a user's account. Finally, we isolated those with high view counts and adequate engagement and follower counts. These procedures provided us with a list of potential influencers. Always remember and consider views and engagement, and TikTok is the biggest music sharing app in the world. Next, these are the top followed TikTokers. However, even though they are the most followed, we did not choose these.
Okay, so like Jeff was saying at the beginning, follower count isn't everything. So who we ended up choosing was Jason Al Asmar. Like his follower count is only 8.9, but he has a lot of engagement. And that's what makes him good for selling products, because even though you might have a lot of followers on your account, people, you follow our account, you may like forget that you followed it, and you may never see them their stuff again. And like algorithms, they may not send you their things, especially if you're not engaged with their content. So engagement is really good. That's just some pictures of him. So according to the graph, Yasin Al Asmar has nearly double the average views for any other TikTok creator. So Yasmin Alzheimer also has the second most average shares of any other TikTok creator, which, like I said, is very important, because if you're trying to get him to sell a certain product, then we need people to share his content. So see, these are some of the other advantages. Well, so Yasmin Alzheimer is unique because he produces content and he's also a boy, which makes him good for diversity and representing different groups of people. This representation is a key aspect of our advertisement campaigns, because he markets the products through the lens of overcoming hardships and disabilities. His second advantage is the fact that he speaks Arabic, which also broadens your audience, because you can't just have people that speak only English, that only speak English. He's practicing Muslim, he connects and advertise campaigns to a Middle Eastern audience. He makes comedic content, so everybody wants to laugh, so that's also a plus. And his last advantage is he's 27 years old, which makes him more devoted to late millennials. So he targets people from all ages. This is a unique age because his special audience is due to a distinct demographic.
Now we're on the section of YouTube selection procedure. So we use a similar procedure as we're using for Instagram and TikTok. First of all, we eliminate all the creators with the categories such as acting, music, and sport. And we isolate the data sets by hiding creators with less than 2 million followers. And finally, we limit the candidate to those who have the most view over subscribe ratio. These are the top 3 subscribed YouTuber we selected, but we eventually come up with South Seoul, India, with category as a daily video, is a child influencer. She has subscriber count as a 21.6 million, average view as 24.6 million.
So one of the reasons that we picked her was because she had really good view to subscriber count. She gets more views than she has subscribers, and she has nearly 30 million subscribers. That's something that's very unheard of on YouTube. As well, she is from India, so she's broadening her audience, and she speaks 3 languages, so she's trilingual, and she can really expand our demographics. So those were our 3 picks. Questions? the opposite. I think it would really actually help us sell products. She's selling sneakers, she's selling clothing. A lot of those things in music as well can be, used by children. Obviously, something like energy drink we might assign to some of the older people, or like, for example, the lady who we have connected to sports. But when we selected things, we tried to pick a variety of people that would represent a large population. So she connects to some of the younger demographics. Thank you.
I have two questions. First one, is authentic engagement an actual data point from Instagram, or did you create that?
Yes, it's an authentic, it is from the data set. So authentic engagement and then average engagement, they are grouped together,
Okay.
side by side.
Okay.
So
And
the
then
losses to one ratio.
just in terms of, I'm not familiar with the Messi's wife, but do you feel that she's organic, or do you feel like
Yes, so that's a good question.
his influence was something?
Yeah, so I did some research on that to make sure. She was a social media influencer far before she married him. So she already amassed quite a large fame. Now he might have helped her nearing the end, but she definitely started off as an organic influencer from Argentina. Thank you.